Welcome, everyone. We're the City of Morro Bay Recreation and Parks Commission, and this is a regular meeting, September 15th, 2022 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Morro Bay Veterans Memorial Building, 209 Surf Street, here in Morro Bay. There are 4 members on the committee, and we're all here this evening, so we do have a quorum. Thanks, everybody, for coming. So right now, I am calling this meeting to order, and if you will all please join me in a moment of silence. Okay, next we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Raymond, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is announcements. Are there any announcements, my fellow commissioners?
Public?
No? Any announcements from the commission?
Drew, no announcements tonight?
No, I think they're all covered in the...
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we do have some announcements, and I'll go ahead and defer to Angelica Gallardo, our Recreation Supervisor with Youth Services.
Good evening. First, I'm going to talk about Kids Club. We just began our 2022-23 school year on August 18th. We have 75 students registered for Kids Club this school year. We have a staff of 12, and they're all currently going through their California state license requirements. So that's like CPR and first aid training, mandated child abuse reporting, all of that. So we're currently in the process of doing that. But we're about a month in. The kids are having a great time. This year we did a few new things. We partnered with San Luis Coastal to provide care for, California State just passed a law that all transitional kindergartners and kindergartners are to be in a school setting for the full school day, so 8:30 to 2:30. And we have partnered with them to offer care in the morning and the afternoons and on Fridays when they release them early. We have 38 students who are receiving this care for free. And then our staff are trained, of course, and licensed, and we're offering the care for that. So it's been really great. And we also are we're also partnering with San Luis Coastal to offer they refer to it as a supper, and it is a second or a late afternoon snack. And it's well balanced, as everything, and so they give that to us at no cost, and every student is offered this supper type of food. So it's really great. It's not a dinner, of course, but it's a nice balanced snack that they can have: a milk, juice, a protein, a fruit and vegetable, and it's been really successful. Our families are happy, our kids are happy, and I mean, it's a long day for these guys, so yeah. And that's really it. We're excited about the school year. We've got a lot of fun things planned, and a great group. So.
Thanks, Angelica. And I'll turn it over to Ken Zink, our Recreation Supervisor with Sports, for any announcements.
All right, yeah, we just got our soccer season started. We have about 175 players playing this season. We have all of our divisions covered, from the under 6 division on up through the under 14 division. So we're into our second week this weekend. That's coming up. And we're looking forward to kicking off the youth basketball registration. We are opening the registration to 1st through 8th graders, as opposed to 2nd through 8th graders in previous seasons. So we're very excited about that. And yeah, that's what we got going on.
Thank you, Ken. Couple quick announcements from my side here. So just wanted to announce and welcome our newest staff member. She's our office assistant, Julie Blackketter. She started up August 15th. And we're happy to have her on board and working through a little bit of training right now. So far she's doing a great job. Also wanted to mention we're working with the Boys and Girls Club to take on our senior center, and the lease document was signed September 1st, so it's fully executed. They anticipate starting the program up January 1st, but that's just a target date. We're not holding our breaths on that. They've got a lot of work to get the staff hired, get the facility up to snuff, and so that's going to take a little bit of time, but we're shooting for January 1st. We're hoping for that. Also wanted to mention the successful Avocado Margarita Festival that was hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. That was just last weekend, I think it was. It's kind of a blur because I participated. There were avocados to be eaten and margaritas to drink. Anyways, it was a great activity, great event. Along those lines, we contracted with the same company that put together the Avocado Margarita Festival on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. It's Project XO. And with Hannah, the owner, she is working with us to launch our new concert series, the first ever here in Morro Bay, Tunes at Tidelands. That begins next week, Thursday, at 5 o'clock. So we'll do a series of 4 concerts at Tidelands Park, Thursday nights, 5 to 7. Love to see you guys out there. The Morro Bay seniors, Morro Bay active adults 55 plus is underwriting a portion of this these events, and as well as the city with some carryover funding from a concert we were planning at Coleman Park, Cloisters Park last year that got rained out. So there were some funds available from that event that we brought in to do this series. So this Thursday, you could look forward to the band called Unfinished Business. Very popular 50s and 60s and 70s band. They do a lot of great Beatles songs and whatnot. That's our opening band for the series. So hope to see you all out there. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That sounds great. Exciting. Next on our agenda, they're Morro Bay senior citizens. You spoke a little bit about the seniors. Ms. Davis, do we have anything that we can
I
discuss
have
about?
no updates for the seniors. I need to reevaluate my commitment to being seniors because my schedule's a little busy right now to be committing to that. But I did see that the adult softball league is starting back up, and when I had gone the last time, that was one of their big things they wanted to get going again was the softball. They were all really kind of gung-ho about that, so I think that,
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I could jump in, as I always like to do, I'd be happy to report on your behalf right now, Commissioner Davis. I oftentimes attend those meetings, and I do have a quick update on a couple of things. So one, there's a new television monitor installed in the community center lobby. That was funded by the seniors, and the intent and purpose is to help us with advertising of senior activities as well as recreation services activities and programs and events, as well as others that are using the community center for private events. So it's able to be programmed. It's a good-sized television, not quite as big as what we see here in this room, but pretty good-sized, and it's able to be, like I said, programmed for whatever our purpose is. So, and it'll provide like a looping kind of a advertisement. So we're excited about that. It just was installed yesterday. So we should be seeing that coming up and live soon. Also, Brady Locke, our seniors program coordinator, had passed on to me that Tuesday, September 20th, the Morrow Bay Seniors Rovers are taking a trip to the Maritime Museum. So they put them in a bus, everybody hops in and heads on down to the museum, and they're going to get a tour down there from some of the volunteers. And I don't know if you guys have been there before, but it's really pretty cool. It's not only is it fun for the kids, but it's great educational tool for the kids, but also for us older folks as well. So let's see. And then Wednesday, the 21st, is their monthly board meeting, 9:30 in the morning in the seniors lounge. And then once again, it was mentioned that Tunes and Tidelands, first concert in the park from 5 to 7. Please be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the public comment period. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, 2021 to 2022, and Government Code Section 54953, this meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format with both in-person and virtual public participation. And I see we have no public participation here on site, but do we have any virtual public participation?
Thank you, Chair. We have no raised hands in the queue.
Thank you very much. We'll move on then to the consent calendar. The items on the consent calendar are A1 through A3. A1 is the approval of minutes from the Recreation and Parks Commission meeting of May 19th, 2022. And A2 is the Recreation Service Division status report. And A3 is the Recreation Service Division participation reports from May to August 2022. Do I have a motion to approve these items on the consent calendar?
I will make a motion to move, we will make the motion to receive and file.
And a second?
I'll second the motion.
Very good.
Second the motion.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I see no opposition. So A1 to A3 is received and filed. The next order of business then is our public hearings. And I see no public hearings this evening. So we will move on to business items C1 to C7. Or no, excuse me, C1 to C11. C7 just goes to the first page. If you turn the page over, there's more business items. So let's start off then with C1. Staff report, 4th of July Family Fun Day 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we do have a big agenda tonight as our July meeting was canceled this year. So quite a bit to report on. And C1, we'll turn that one over to Angelica Gallardo, who was the event coordinator for this fantastic event.
Thank you. I will be quick. It was fantastic. We were proud and we were excited to bring it back. We did the same model that we've done in 2019. We had a couple of things that were different, but basically we did our bike parade this year. We did change the name to Red, White, and Blue Bike Parade in honor of Councilmember Red Davis. It was his favorite event, and he and his wife participated every year. So that was kind of nice. We also did, we gave every participant a pinwheel, an American flag pinwheel with a note from us welcoming them and thanking them. So that was really special. We had a couple great bands. We had Zongo All-Stars. They're a local band. They came out, did a big party at the end. We did our normal kids carnival, bounce house, lawn games, all of this stuff. We had food vendors, face painting, and 3 Stacks in a Rock provided the beer garden this year again. We had harbor department out there, fire department, and police department. I would estimate we had about 2,000 people I think. Really, our expenses, it's always a staffing situation, of course, because it is a large event, and, we do everything from the parking to the setup to the carnival to dressing, or to Thomas Jefferson. I mean, we do all of that. So that's always a staffing expense. But revenue was lower this year. I didn't have as many vendors because it was a little last minute with just deciding if we were going to go forward with it. But what was great was it was so popular that we have a lot of people who have already signed on to do it next year. So I think it'll be even bigger. And really, like I said, more vendors would be my recommendation for next year. 3 Stacks in a Rock has already signed on. They're going to do it again. They love it. And then I think maybe I'll work with some volunteer groups and see if they can get. It is hard with volunteer groups because a lot of them are already participating in something else because it's 4th of July. So, and I'd like to thank Commissioner Ray because he was out there, and putting on these events is a lot, and it's overwhelming sometimes, and sometimes it's nice to be stopped and given some compliments. So I appreciate that. It helped kind of boost me back going. So thank you, and I appreciate for you. And I know Melissa was out there as well. So I'm pretty sure I saw you dancing.
I was dancing. My only feedback would be that whipped cream pie thing. I'm not a whipped cream fan. I would maybe, I know some ladies that bake pies that might be willing, we could maybe get actual little pies or something.
That would be great.
Because it was a hot day, and I'll tell you what, that was.
I will call you for the pies, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please
definitely. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions or comments about 4th of July? I do appreciate, Melissa, you playing and taking one for the team.
You guys did a great job. I actually, growing up here, I've always gone to Cayucas for the 4th of July, and I think I've maybe spent a couple 4th of Julys in Morrow Bay, this being one, and it was a lot of fun, and I had my family down there, and a bunch of kids, and my neighbors, and everyone had a great time, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, you guys.
Excellent job and beautifully executed.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Very good. So may I have a motion to receive and file? C1?
I'll make a motion to receive and file C1.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Seeing no opposition? C1 staff report, 4th of July Family Fun Day is received and filed. C2 is the next business item, Kids Camp 22.
This is me again. Again, coming off of 2019 was the last time that we did anything quote-unquote normal. So Kids Camp 2022 was modeled again after 2019. I feel like we had a very successful summer. We averaged 65 campers a day. So that's a lot of little guys running around. We were on campus at Del Mar, which we have been in the past. We have 2 classrooms. We space everyone out. We have a nice room. We did this year share the school campus with summer school because San Luis Coastal provided summer experience / summer school for all students for free. So a lot of families did take advantage of that, which they should. We still offered care for these summer school kids after camp too. That also added into our group. Really, camp was, we had a staff of 32 employees. 15 of those employees were high school students, which is really great. That is my special group. I get to really mentor them and teach them about having a job for their first job, a lot of them. And then they kind of stick around and continue to work for us. So right now we have 5 of them who kept on and work with us at Kids Clubs. That's kind of great. Let's see. We partnered with the San Luis Coastal District again to do, with their food service department, they offered a morning snack and an afternoon snack, which is also at no cost for us. So that's really helpful. And we did a lot of great things. I'm not sure if saw us around this summer, but we did things like we visited, I'm pretty sure, every park here in Morrow Bay. We went to 3 different beaches, park water days, bike ride. We took a bike ride to Cloisters. We went to the harbor department and did a tour there. The fire department came out and taught us some stuff. The police department came out and talked about bike safety with us. We did go to Santa Barbara and we went to the zoo. We also went to the Moxie Museum, which if you've never been, you need to go. It is so cool. Kids told us this was their favorite place they've ever been. It was great. We also went to the water park in Paso Robles on probably the hottest day, of course. It was a really great, successful summer. Again, expenses are always staffing, but when you're running 65 kids a day and you're open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., that is going to cost. We do bring a good amount of revenue in. Families don't only use us for childcare during the summer, they use us as enrichment for their kids. This is something their kids can do. Also, if you look at the list of things we do, that's a whole summer bucket list, right? You don't have to take your kids to the beach, they're going with their friends, so. Usually, we were at a 76% cost recovery, which is right there where we want to be. I think if I had any recommendations for next year, I don't know, maybe more field trips. That's what our families like. So, any questions on summer camp?
No, it looks like you actually recovered 95%.
That's the kids club.
Oh, that's the kids
Yeah.
club, wrong one. Okay. But I do agree, field trips are good. Kids like field trips.
Yes, and the field trips cost us, of course.
Yeah.
We also rented out the Morrow Bay Theater and had a private showing. That was really fun.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And so these things do cost, but it's so important for these kids to have, so, yeah,
Great, thank you.
thanks.
Thanks, Ms. Gallardo. Very good. May I have a motion to receive and file C2?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing no opposition? C2 is received and filed. Moving on to C3, adult softball.
All right, yeah, so in the spring, we brought back the adult Coed softball league, and we were lucky enough to be able to use a bunch of inventory from the previous seasons. They had stockpiled a lot of softballs. I think we're still using them for the current season that we started. We had 5 teams in total, so looking to, keep up in the turnout and gain more teams. The format we used was the regular season, with 4 teams, making it on to the playoffs. So you had to qualify by your win-loss record to make it into the playoffs, and then 2 weeks of playoffs leading into a championship game. So we currently have, like I said, the next season started, and looking to keep the adult softball going in Morrow Bay. Do we have any questions or?
How many players do you have signed up right now for softball?
So we only do signups by teams, and then you sign up as the team manager.
Yeah.
And then you get to register your roster with us. So the teams could have anywhere from 10 to 18 players listed on their roster. So in total, it's probably 75 players around,
Okay,
give or take. Yeah.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zink. Thank you. So may I have a motion to receive and file C3?
I'll make a motion to receive and file C3.
And a
I will
second?
second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing no opposition, let's receive and file C3. Moving on to C4, staff report, Mermaid, Pirate, and Sea Creatures 2 Parade, 2022. Sounds like fun.
Okay, that's me again. On May 21st, we hosted our 14th annual Mermaid, Pirate, and Sea Creature Parade. We partner with Dockside Mark Tognazini at Dockside, and they host the Shellebration, is what we refer to it as. It's very simple, but I think loved event. Basically, we invite the public, the community to come out. They dress as pirates, mermaids, all sea creatures, and we start the parade, walk the boardwalk, and then head out to Dockside and have a party. I think we had about 115 children participate, and then of course they all bring a parent. And it's low cost, a couple staff, not too many. Mark and Dockside provide the whole entire party at no cost, so that's always great, and we're very appreciative. And supplies, we give everyone a little goodie bag, some mermaid pirate stuff, a patch and a gold coin. Taffy, we'd get taffy donated from Krill's, and and we'll do it again next year. We'll do it again until Mark says no more, I think is when we'll do it. So, any questions?
I'd like to thank Mark Tognazini for his contribution to the community.
I second that.
Thank you. Is there a motion to receive and file C4?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition? Seeing no opposition, C4 is received and filed. Next on our agenda is C5, Aquatics, January to May 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go ahead and take this one on behalf of Katie Tucker, our aquatics coordinator. This is an evaluation of the aquatics program from the period January through May 2022. Basically operating the center at the high school on behalf of the city. Programs offered are lap swim, aqua aerobics, master's swim, private lessons, and semi-private lessons. Open hours, we do about 4.75 every Monday and Wednesday, 2.5 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, 4.5 hours on Sundays. And the majority of the swim lessons are handled on the weekends, and that's when we are on the Sundays. That's when we do have our staff available. Most of our aquatic staff are high school students with a handful of college students. But that opens up the doors for, again, the majority of the swim lessons on Sundays. What else did she report for us? Okay. Oh, she did mention in her report that there, with school being back in person, we did see a drop in participation with staff as well as those attending. So our offerings were a little limited. We did see a drop in the lessons beginning of the year due to the closures and the spike in COVID cases after the holidays. But we did make also a change to our registration process to ensure a cost recovery from cancellations. So what we were seeing is people would register for swim lessons, unable to make it, and then just not show, leaving us there with staff that we still have to pay, but not bringing in the revenue. So we'd reschedule those. So there was a change in that process to ensure that the folks who registered did show up and they wouldn't incur a fee. We did also add a 1-week swim clinic at the beginning of the year that had 30 participants. And then we also did host our annual Junior Guard Boot Camp. And that is a program where the participants come out on Sundays beginning in March. And it's really designed to get the participants back in the water, preparing them for the summer junior lifeguard program. So instead of just coming out without hitting the water at all, at the start of the summer program, we get them in the water, swim some laps, do a few exercises. We bought a couple of soft surfboards, brand new ones, and put them in the pool, let them paddle around. So it was really, we're playing a junior guard, but also we're playing lifeguard, but also really getting some exercise and getting the swim on. This period brought in revenues of 92,000 and some change, with expenses about 87,000, bringing us a cost recovery of 106%. Our target for that is not to be over 100% cost recovery. We're not a profit center. What we're not including in these recovery percentages are the time that you see for full-time staff. We're not looking at including our time in these percentages. So they're not 100% accurate, I guess, if you will, but we're also not including overhead coming from City Hall with, payroll processing, HR services, things like that, attorney help or whatever. So this is more direct costs from staff on site, not really behind the scenes. Happy to answer some questions if you have them, or happy to listen to some comments.
There was a really great water polo program too at the high school over the summer, a month long. I think it was 3 days a week for a month for middle school age kids. And that was really awesome. I know at least 10 to 12 other kids, including my own daughter, who participated in that. And so I know it was kind of not necessarily the city staff members that were doing that, and I'm not sure how that worked or whatever, but if that's something that you were interested in pursuing in the future, I think that it would be successful, and thank you for hosting.
Yeah, thank you. And that is something that's on our radar. Oftentimes, the school district will attempt to launch a program like that, but then not have the staff to pull it off. And they have turned to us in the past to pick up the program, and we're happy to do that. We actually would prefer to run those programs because what we found is they lack. I hate to say it to the great wide TV world, but they don't provide lifeguard service. So I think what they do is have their coaches are trained in life saving, but they're not trained as lifeguards. So that element is a concern for us, just in general terms, and therefore, really prompting us to want to take the program on. So, but I heard it was a successful class, no injuries, nothing like that. But it looked like a lot of fun. Yeah. Thank you.
So we're able to find adequate lifeguards? Because I've seen most counties and cities are having difficulty.
We struggle with lifeguards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many of the pools in the county are not open 100% of the time that they would like to be because of the lifeguard shortage. One thing that Katie Tucker has done is worked, and this was in her other report, I believe, but I can go ahead and speak to that right now. But there's a career technical education program that we have partnered with Morrow Bay High School to deliver, and that is a 4-unit class offered by the high school that we staff, and we train the students in lifeguarding. So when they're done with this CTE class, they get a lifeguard certificate, and then we scoop them up and put them to work.
Great.
So it's very self-serving.
So the pool lifeguards are a little more difficult to achieve than the ocean ones, right?
As far as finding them or to train?
The training, I think.
The training is a little bit more in depth with beach lifeguarding.
Oh, with the beach. Okay, I got it
There's
backwards.
the United States Lifeguard Association, and with that program and our junior guard program, we run the staff through that academy, is what that's called.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that at our next meeting when we have the junior lifeguard program evaluation for you.
Great, thank you.
Director Carmichael, the career and technical education, can you fill out, other than perhaps state parks and recreation lifeguards, what other pool of potential employers that those students may have advantage to access or be attracted to for recruitment?
Yeah, so other businesses in the area that need lifeguards? Sure, yeah, any of the local cities. So, Paso, Tascadero. I don't think Grover has a pool. But they can also be employed by like your Kennedy fitness centers who do have pools there. County Parks also operates, I think, 9 pools within the county. But the advantage for us is we're talking 14, 15-year-old kids. And they can't travel too far outside of Morro Bay, so we got them. So we do. We ran. Let's see, 10 of them through the first class and picked up 9. One wasn't ready to work, and then I think our last class had 6. So we're looking forward to run another class again because we need help. But good point, Commissioner Sidaris. It's a struggling line of work. We just can't find staff. And again, it's not just us, it's nationwide. Cal Poly also has a couple pools. Cuesta College has a pool. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carmichael. So that was C5. Do we have a motion to receive and file?
I'll make a motion to receive and file C5.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So let's receive and file C5 and move on to the next business item, which is C6, staff report on Kids Club 21-22.
Okay, that's me. I'm going a little backwards. I should have done this one first. We're back at normal school for the school year of 2021 and 22. It does take me a while to try to figure that out, but we were normal again. A little background about Kids Club. We're licensed by the state of California, so that means all of my staff have to have a few things. They have to meet some requirements. Some of our positions, they have to have certain ECE units. So the price range to pay these guys is just different. Also, they have to have some sort of training. So we do, as I mentioned before, CPR and first aid training. We do mandated child abuse reporters. We do some child development trainings. Really, they go through a monthly training, actually, and that's with me going in and kind of doing some sort of training with them. Another requirement is that we get a random inspection. And so we did get our random inspection in March of 2021. We passed with the flying colors, of course. This year it was a different type of, I've done these for 19 years and been at every inspection. This one was different. The licensing agency is doing a different thing where they kind of come in and do an interview with us, and they interview me, and it's random, and they ask me questions about child development, which I was not prepared. I obviously didn't study for it, but luckily I've done this for a long enough time that I had the answers. Something that was really great was the inspector had only positive things to say about our program. He was really impressed with how on top of it we are with everything, and that our staff have all of that training already done, that they have, I have a good amount of staff who have done early childhood education trainings and classes. So we have some past teachers. I mean, we're pretty lucky to have what we have. This last year we had, where are my numbers? Gosh, I lost it. I lost my train of thought. But really, we're on campus. We are so fortunate to have the relationship we have with the district, but also to have the relationship we have with Del Mar. There's a new principal there, Principal Michael Wood. This is his now second school year. The previous principal, Janet Gould, and I were very close. We worked together all through the years, but also we got through COVID together, so that really bonded us. But this new principal is great too, and he went into it knowing that Kids Club is a partner. We're allies in this whole thing. So that's something that really helps us, make this successful for everyone. And some of the things that we do to partner with them is we offer care during back-to-school night for them. We participate in their events that they're doing, and then they participate in ours as well. So that's just really great, like I said, kind of like surface to keep working with, you know. So what else? Let's see. Some of the things that Kids Club does, we're not just a before and after school program. We really put effort into this and know that we are, you know, that we build these relationships with these kids because we have them all school year. So things that we do are we celebrate Patriots Day. So we just did that actually last week, where we make a big flag sign, thank everyone who has sacrificed trust for that. We also celebrate this program called Lights On After School, which celebrates all of our after-school programs in the whole United States. Everyone does it on this one day. We, like I said, do back-to-school night and open house. And then the kids get to participate. Like the school has minimum days, and we always make sure that we're open early on those days for students to have care, because they get out at 1. So parents need to have care on those days. Same thing with Monday mornings. We open later because it's a late start for everybody at school, and parents go to school at 8. School starts at 9:30. We are, of course, again, staffing is always a large portion of our expenses, but what's great is that our revenue is always up high, not because we overprice ourselves. I spend a lot of time researching everyone else's prices, and we never want to overprice, but I work with CAPSLO, which is Community Actions Program of San Luis Obispo, and we have a good amount of families who use that program, as well as our scholarship foundation. So we have, I think Amanda and I were doing the research, and we have like half of our families who use these subsidized programs. So that is helpful. So they aren't really feeling that huge childcare expense, which is great. And there is talk that in this next school year, the district may have some money too for families who need assistance with childcare. So, that's kind of all I have to say about it. Like Commissioner Sedaris said, we're at 95% cost recovery, and that is again because our tuition revenue that we bring in with all the subsidies really supports that, and it's not much of an expense except for the staffing. Everything else is kind of minimal. Any questions about Kids Club?
Where do the fingerprinting expenses come from?
That is because we're licensed by the state. I have to have not only normal hiring fingerprint, but we have to fingerprint all of our employees and this last year we didn't have to because my staff had all worked for us for the previous year.
Okay.
Yeah, I was lucky. I actually have to fingerprint 3 of them this month. So.
I'd just like to say that you guys are doing a really great job, and for the council members that don't know, Del Mar Elementary is a Title I school, which means half or more of the kids live at or below the poverty level, and Del Mar Elementary is actually above 60% of the students that go there live at or above poverty, and so the Kids Club program and the things that you're doing over there is like really amazing, and I just want to say thanks for
Thank you, I appreciate that.
a person.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a couple questions. So it shows that we are providing meals, or the school district is providing meals?
Yes.
That's good. And when you go on a field trip, you take the big yellow school bus, or?
For, during school year programs, we don't do any field trips. During
okay.
kids' camp trips, no, we take trolley to anything that's local.
Trolleys, that's good.
And then we take the 2 big trips, we take American Star tour buses. So those,
okay.
or I guess they're called
Okay,
tour
great.
buses.
Just
That
wondering.
is a huge expense.
Yeah, imagine.
So we don't do many of those.
Oh.
But riding the trolley is already a fun activity for these kids, so.
Oh, yeah. The commissioners didn't even like riding it.
Do you have adequate resources for staff training?
We do. Luckily, because it's state licensing, a lot of it is free. And so that's always nice. I mean, the expense would be first aid and CPR for our card, I guess is what cost. But our trainer is Katie Tucker, our aquatics coordinator, so that's great. But everything else is all subsidized through the state. So you basically, a lot of it is online, you know, you just go, and they've already have it all put together. So some of it is I send it home with them and say, you know, you have next week to finish it. And the other stuff is just trainings that I go through, and then I go and to reiterate that information.
Very nice.
Thank
Nice
you.
job. Thank you very much. We have a motion to receive and file?
So moved to receive and file.
Second the motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
So there's no opposition again? We'll receive and file C6. Moving on to the next item was C7, Coast Summerslam Softball Tournament. Is that Mr. Zink?
Yes. All right, yeah, so with the common theme of the year, it was our first Coast Summerslam back in a couple of years, just like most of our other activities and programs. So, yep, we brought it back the Father's Day weekend. We had 2 venues where we had tournament games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were able to use our own park, Lila Kaiser, obviously, and then the school district granted us use for Monarch Field. We also partnered with the Los Osos Little League, who typically uses that Monarch Field. Usually our other softball field is at Sunnyside. So Monarch Field is in great condition. It was a treat to be able to use that field for the games. We had all of our 10 and under division located at Monarch, which was helpful because our only all-star team that we had was the 10 and under team. So they were able to, stay there for the whole weekend and help prep the fields and run the snack bar. We had our 8 and under division as well as our 12 and under division at Lila Kaiser. And we were basically at capacity running games all weekend with 20 teams. And so, yeah, it was a long weekend. We had field preppers helping out at Lila Kaiser that we paid, and a couple of our staff members just supervising over at Monarch. And it was a great way for a lot of the dads to spend Father's Day weekend with their daughters. And overall, it was a great tournament. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you guys have about it.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to receive and file? C7?
I'll make a motion to receive and file C7.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll receive and file C7. Moving to C8, staff report, Estero Bay Girls Softball 2022.
All right. Yeah, and this is me again. Just to clarify, the Coast Summer Slam is for all the all-star teams. So at the end of the softball season, the teams will create like their all-star teams that you have to try out for. So it's a little bit different in nature because it's a competitive program as opposed to our recreational softball, which is for anybody that wants to play. So again, a little bit of a rebuilding phase that we're at with the girls softball league. We did not have a league last year when everybody else did, so we found that a lot of the players that had jumped ship to play with places like San Luis Obispo or Templeton had made friends and kind of wanted to stick around playing in those leagues, which is unfortunate, but we're going to keep fighting the good fight and trying to build the program here. We had 1 8 and under team, 2 10 and under teams, and our teams, we don't have a ton of softball teams, so our teams get to go and play in San Luis Obispo and Atascadero and get to play all around the county, which is exciting, but it's also, I'm sure a challenge for some of the parents that it's a little bit more difficult to make that travel. And then, as mentioned with the last item, we formed 1 10 and under all-star team that competed in tournaments over the summer, one being our local tournament at the Coast Summer Slam. So, yeah, happy to keep growing the softball program in the community and excited to see what next year brings. So glad to answer any questions that you guys may have. So our team, they gave it their all. I don't think they ended up winning any games that weekend for the Coed Summerslam, but I did talk to the All-Star coach as the season was ending, and they had taken a Atascadero team that had beat them considerably, and then to end the summer, when I saw him at 4th of July, actually, I saw the All-Star coach. He said that their team actually beat Atascadero to close off the summer. So I think they had a huge improvement and really generated some interest in all those players on the team. I think they had an absolutely great time.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just important you do your best and be in the game.
That's right.
It's a nice story. All right, C8, motion to receive and file.
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposition, so we'll receive and file C8. And move to C9, the staff report for the Rock to Pier.
Great, yeah, so another event that we brought back in 2022. So we were trying to dip our feet in and do the 10K portion in hopes that once we got the whole Rock to Pier system down, we could bring back the half marathon eventually. So we partnered with Central Valley Timing to host the event, and they really helped out with the registration. They're a great company that has a lot of experience doing big runs all around, California and the United States. They help with the check-in, and they give every runner a bib that has a computer chip in it, so that when the runners are doing the race, it automatically tracks their time. And as they're finishing, the results are updated automatically, and they can go and look on the website and see where they finish in real time, which I think is really cool. We had 582 runners, with 7 choosing to do the run virtually. The virtual run was the same price as to deter people from just choosing to do a cheaper event of virtual. And then we partnered with the local gym Fitness Works to host the pre-event warm-up, and so they really came out with that Fitness Works energy and got everyone pumped to start the race. And we also partnered with the Beosos Kiwanis that cooked up the breakfast for the runners that had just finished the race and been bussed back from the Cayucas Pier. And during the breakfast, we had a band, the Ghost Monster Band, which played for everybody and had a good mix of beach tunes and some alternative and reggae type music. And we really had help from a lot of Katie Tucker's amazing aquatic staff, as well as Angelica's youth services staff, and a mix of pretty much everyone's part-time staff, because it's an all-hands-on-deck type event. It really takes a lot to pull off the pre-event check-in and all the moving that needs to happen for all the tables and chairs and all the various things that are associated with running the event. And so another long day for all of our staff, but we pulled it off, and happy to bring back the event and hoping to continue to bolster it as we return it to its former glory. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Tell us about the virtual run.
Oh yeah, so if you do the virtual, basically you run on your own, and we send you a T-shirt and like a bib, and you just kind of enter your time in. So it's just a lot of people like to do as many virtual runs as they can, because they could like collect the T-shirts and the medals, and just kind of use it as it's kind of like a collector thing for some of the runners that aren't able to make the in-person race. What was that?
They should have to be there in person to get the shirt.
Oh.
Well, do they run on a treadmill or run their own course?
They can choose to do it wherever they want. They can track it and do it on a treadmill, or they can like run the route. You're just trying to do the same distance.
The distance,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So this then provides some ADA accessibility for handicapped people who would want to participate.
That is a great
Be
point.
included.
I had not fully considered that. That's correct. Yeah, because it would be more difficult to make it out to the beach.
Thank you. That's
Thanks.
nice. How about a motion to receive and file C9?
So moved.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, C9 is received and filed. Moving on to C10, just two left. C10 is the staff report, Aquatics, June to August 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll go ahead and present this report on behalf of Katie Tucker, our Aquatics Coordinator. This is the program evaluation, as you said, from June through August 2022. Again, a full complement of class and program offerings, lap swim, aquarobics, master's swim class, youth swim clinic was added in this summer, along with our private and semi-private lessons. And once again, the junior guard boot camp was offered towards the end of June. I think it wrapped up right then. We also provided the staff for a partnership with San Luis Coastal Unified School District and Morrow High School with our career technical education class, as well as what the school called the Summer Experience Program, and what I call that is summer school. But I think it's a little different than the normal summer school that I knew growing up and that my kids attended. It was not as heavy in the education, I think. It was more of a experience type of opportunities, cooking classes, things like that. So one of them was a swim class. So we jumped in and provided the instructional experience, or the instructional staffing, as well as our lifeguards. So that was a great experience for the kids, I thought. I think that whole summer experience program, it hurt our junior lifeguard program this year. This was the first summer that junior lifeguards didn't sell out in 5 minutes. So it's kind of a shock to us when we were thinking it through, like, I raised the price a little bit, but not enough to really turn everybody away. But then, again, there's only one session that sold out. It did work out for us, though, I'll have to say, because we were limited in our staffing again. We struggled to get qualified staff, certified beach lifeguards for this program. And in an effort to keep our ratio at an acceptable level, we did limit the number of of participants. However, it again didn't sell out. I think it was because of that summer school. Yeah. Oh, session. Yeah, the last session we did sell out, and that's when summer school wrapped up before session D started. So that was another indicator for us that it must have been summer school. That it wasn't Mr. Carmichael raising the prices that caused the problem, the lack of participation. But again, we'll talk about junior lifeguards again more at our next meeting. Again, then with this program, through this program period, same amount of hours every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. At the Tuesdays and Thursdays were again at 2.5 hours, and then 4.5 hours on the Sundays. Quite a big numbers. Lap swim showed close to 3,000 participants. Aqua aerobics with 679. In our master swim program, which is we brought this one back again just recently because we lost our staff person who was handling that program. That's an early morning one, so it takes the right person to get out there to teach the class as well as participate. So they're swimming lots of laps at 6 in the morning. And I've looked at the workout before, and it's pretty rough. I'm out there for 20 minutes, is about all I have. But these guys go for almost an hour, so it's pretty impressive to see. Anyways, let's see here. I think that's about all I need to talk about because I touched base on most of the other programs that we did offer, again, like the CTE lifeguarding class, as well as the junior guard boot camp. So with that, revenues came in at about close to 40,000, expenses a little over 57,000, and our cost recovery was right around 70%. We find that in summertime, again, this goes back to those swim lessons, the swim lesson issue, that we need to be fully staffed, and we work as many kids as we can. Keeping in mind, a lot of them are first-time jobs for these 14-year-old kids, so they need some mentoring as far as how to teach a swim lesson. So we'll pair them up with a seasoned veteran who's been in the water doing that. Summertime season, a lot of our college students come back, so they are available to mentor. But it does drive our staff costs up a little high. It's hard to employ somebody and say, we'll work you from 11 to 12, but then you have to sit there for an hour because your next lesson starts at 1. We don't do that. We'll keep them busy doing other things, or shadowing in a swim lesson and learning while they're there. So it's a training opportunity for us as well. But again, it's a big cost for us to staff, and that's why you see our recovery down at 70% for this. Happy to answer any questions if I can.
Thank you, Kurt. Great. You guys do a lot of work. So C10, excuse me, C11.
Mr. Chairman, let's get you to, your commission to go ahead and motion.
Make a motion to receive and file the last one.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, we'll receive and file C10 and move on to C11.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and take this one. This is our staff report. It's a verbal and it's an update on park projects. And I was told I cannot ramble on or I'm going to get the hook, so bear with me as I go through these. We'll start with our Coleman Park update. So Coleman Park, as you know, we applied a couple of years ago for funding through the state parks, Proposition 68, and we did receive $175,000. That was a per capita grant that was awarded to us, which meant it was non-competitive. It was available for any city, county, or other jurisdiction to apply for. And if you did apply, then there were the awards were given. $175,000 was the lowest amount awarded, and it's based on population. So we were happy to get that award, and then enter our Public Works Office, who took on the grant writing and the park project management. Really, that was their role to begin with, but this office does assist in various ways. Again, with starting with the grant, but also with offering up our suggestions and expertise in park development. So since it moved, the grant portion moved over to Public Works, they did apply for a Proposition 68 grant through California State Parks, and this was the it's hard to say, Rural Recreation and Tourism Program. I struggle saying rural, but I'll practice. They were awarded $600,000, and that will be used for the Coleman Park area. Now, I think it was last year, we did do a couple of public workshops, which a couple of you attended, where the public was able to provide their input as far as design is concerned and what elements they'd like to see. So all those, that information is kind of swirling around in the heads of the planners over there in the Public Works Office to try to come up with something that we can present back to the public. Funding, of course, is our limitation. So as we might want to do X number of things, but there's only enough funding to do a handful of them. So it will be a master plan or master design, I guess, or lack of a better way to phrase it, of that whole Coleman Park area, and we'll take it in phases as the funding becomes available. So again, right now we're looking at about $775,000 to use. just to replace the restroom alone and the flat work around it, and to, redirect some of the plumbing and electrical, is close to $350,000. So costs are staggering, really, to construct, certainly in California and in this county. So what we'll be looking at for the restroom is a 4 single occupant restroom structure that's also supposed to have a storage unit or storage area behind it. If you might recall, some of the designs we looked at. In that area, it could be used as storage, or it could be programmed or leased out to a company who wants to maybe sell coffee or rent kayaks from it. So there's some options that will be available with that style we selected. We are looking at the creation of continuing or possibly redirecting the Harbor Walk to accommodate the new design. There's a stage plaza space that was discussed. That seemed to be a very popular idea. A playground with accessible play equipment option, an exercise station, non-invasive landscaping, possibly some educational panels, as well as the addition of 4 cultural historical installations at the park. So I know there's the Salinan Indian tribe, the Chumash, and then we also have the Filipino landing monument that's down at Coleman Park. So all these are in consideration with the use of this grant funds. Just on a side note, that the Filipino rock monument, there's going to be a dedication ceremony coming up in next month. I think October 22nd, and we'll have that rock monument again rededicated. There'll be dignitaries from throughout the state, the Senate, Congress, and whatnot. And then there's supposed to be a construction of a kiosk down there as well that's going to provide some like an informational panel, as well as some lighting and additional landscaping. So there's some plans for that area, and we're very excited about it. Again, it's all subject to funding, but that's the latest and greatest update on Coleman Park. And I'd be happy I have a couple more to report on, but if we want to discuss this Coleman Park right now, I'm happy to do what I can and answer questions.
Very briefly, at one point, the Coast Guard had some relocation plans for Station Morrow Bay. And is that off the table at this point?
I'm not familiar with that. With relocating the whole station and the...
Based on what I'd read in Bay News and so forth, I'm not familiar with any updates on that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. There was expansion to the building, but not to relocate that I'm aware of, but they added on, I think it was dormitory space, which extended into the parking.
Oh.
Yeah, it extended into the parking lot a little bit.
That wouldn't extend into the Coleman Park area then?
No, it would not, no.
But I, as one commissioner, would like to stay somewhat involved in this. The issue I see there is that the lack of parking would dictate there not being a huge thing going on down there. And if we had resources for more it should have a minimum of swings and things. But if we want to put more money for more playground equipment, I think it would be better put over at Tidelands, where there's already a bit there that we could improve upon. Yeah, but Coleman's an interesting park. I would certainly like to stay in the loop on that.
Yes, and I'd be happy to continue to bring this item forward, as I will. It's a standing verbal report, but I do ask our Public Works Office and the city engineer for an update before the meetings. But there, again, will be other public hearings as we move closer to finalizing some of their plans out there.
Okay.
And how the phases will go as far as construction.
All right. Can't wait to see the Jackal Lane Muscle Beach portion.
I'd like to also second what Drew said. I think that it's an important issue for our community. It's going to be a huge project. Based on the plans, I mean, that's a really big undertaking for our city. it's an area that's been absolutely neglected for decades, and I for one, am happy to see it revitalized in any way that it's going to be, and I hope that it serves our community well. So just make that public statement.
Yes, thank you. The other, let's see, I've got two more I want to report on. One is the Morrow Bay Skate Park, which is located at right now the teen center, soon to be the Boys and Girls Club. Oh, excuse me. No, it's officially is Boys and Girls Club, but they just haven't opened yet. The skate park itself still will reside in the parking lot at the Boys and Girls Club. It's city maintained, city owned, city managed. And we, gosh, it was way early this year, had lost one of the elements. Actually, we lost the element last year, one of the quarter pipes. So Ken Zink worked diligently on locating the correct element to replace. To find a company that can build one for us, get it up here, and add another obstacle that I think he called it a coffin. I'm out of the touch with the skateboarding lingo, but we are finally getting this delivered, and it's coming in October 3rd. Hopefully it'll be built. We just have to place it. But it's a brand new quarter pipe, 10 feet wide, 5 feet tall. Which is pretty close to what we had there before. And then again, another skating obstacle was the term I should be using here. Skating obstacle that we can skateboard on. Skateboarding is a little different today than it was back in the days.
Forget a scooter and bike.
Oh, pardon me, not just skateboarding. Scooters and bikes, and everybody can play on that.
Yeah.
Anything on, yeah. No more, clay wheels and ball bearings. So, yeah. Yeah, that was before your time too, there, Commissioner Davis. Happy to answer any questions you might have on that one. Nope. All right. Moving along to our other favorite and most exciting project, and this one did start here with Recreation Services and the Morrow Bay Senior Center, and that's our Bocce Court. So bocce, I think we just started to talk about this maybe 5 years ago, where a very naive recreation services manager thought we could throw a couple of railroad ties down there and maybe a little decomposed granite and pack it down, call it a day. Enter real life and the Public Works office, and $60,000 later. We'll be seeing some bocce courts. So we didn't think back when we first talked of the railroad ties that it needed to be ADA compliant. It needs to be. It's not a permanent fixture. We're calling it semi-permanent because that property, when it was purchased many years ago, did have I think a duplex on it or some residential structure on it. And the intent was to build a new government center in that area. So, that's been on hold for 20 some odd years. So we're calling it semi-permanent. But if you look at it right now, the grading is completed. The drainage is in place. We've got the concrete poured. And they just put down the subsurface weed barrier following with the large drainage rock, so that's put in place. We're going to pack that down, and so that's what it looks like right now. And then we'll follow that with a layer of decomposed granite, maybe 2 to 3 inches, and then we'll vibroplate that down and pack it in pretty good. And then we treat it with a top surface. And there's many different types of surfaces of material that can be used. Keeping in mind this is a city park, so it's not designed, it's designed for general use. It's not a fancy, club style. We're going to hold, sanctioned tournaments and whatnot. But many of these bocce courts that you'll see in other parks are just decomposed granite, and they leave it as that, which can be a little rocky. We're going to step it up a little bit, and we're going to add We're not going as big as crushed oyster shell, which you'll find in some of the nicer parks or nicer courts. Nor will we find a fine clay, which I've seen before, which is also very nice. But what we have is a composite material, which is kind of a cross between a little bit decomposed granite and some finer clay and a synthetic material in there. So it's not going to be rocky like the decomposed granite, but it's interesting material. And I watched a video on it and read up on it, but I haven't seen it yet. But what I understand is you can modify the surface to be a slower playing surface by raking it and kind of fluffing it up a little bit. If you want something that's a little quicker, you wet it down and kind of pack it down, and so it'll stays a little harder. So we have that ability to go kind of either way, as you know, depending on who's out there using it and playing at the time. This composite material lasts longer because the finer clays and the oyster shells will kind of decompose and blow away in the wind. So this will remain, so it won't require as much maintenance. So that's the material itself, and then the next coming up next after we do get the top surface in place is we'll be looking at landscaping, which will be some kind of drop tolerant. Something very simple, I think, along the perimeter of the courts themselves, and then we'll look at putting in some benches. Beyond that, the Morrow Bay Seniors Incorporated are going to help fund, which they did, dedicate $6,000 towards this project, and they'll look at storage cabinet to keep a hose and rakes and brooms and whatnot in there, and then they'll also look at creating some kind of a scoreboard. There's a number of different types of systems that you can use, but I found some simple ones. So they'll go ahead and work towards that. I know there's some interest in a bench being dedicated, which is a program that we have here in the city. Adopt a thing, they call it. So you can go ahead and dedicate a bench if you want to go ahead and purchase a bench, and then a plaque for, it could be a loved one or your business organization or whatnot. So that's on the horizon for the Bocce Court. What I heard from the Public Works Director was, to under promise and over deliver. So I think he's got a sign with the design of the court out in front of the court right now, with an anticipated finish date of March of 2023. That's him under promising. The over delivery is going to be, I think we'll be out there playing before the end of this year, hopefully, in a couple of months. So look forward to, we did we did a groundbreaking ceremony, I think 2 weeks before COVID. Look forward to a ribbon cutting ceremony coming up soon. So we hope to program with maybe a couple of tournaments, and that might be part of our opening or ribbon cutting ceremony. But just as a note, there are bocce balls available at our recreation office. There's bocce set available at the senior center office, and then we'll probably buy another set to have at City Hall because it's right next door to, probably 30 or 40 city staff who might want to step out there and play at lunchtime or something. So that's the update on the Bocce Court. So I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, happy to answer any questions. And I hope I didn't ramble too long.
I don't know what bocce ball is, but I hope that it's less complicated than the time that it took to build the courts. And I hope that it's less complicated for our community members that want to join.
It's really a simple game to play. And we do have a seniors group that plays bocce once a week, and they travel around. They go like Tidelands Park and, throw through the grass, but it's really simple and easy to play. And I've mentioned this before. I've played before. My son has a court at his house, and I've played there at family gatherings and get beat by my 87-year-old mother. So
Good.
he doesn't have the oyster shell now, but anybody can play, so it's pretty fun. And it is ADA compliant.
Good.
Gotcha, Commissioner Purcell. You will see the concrete paths are at the appropriate ratio to accommodate ADA. There's also an opening in the court itself and a cut into the concrete where a wheelchair can roll onto the surface and go out there and play. So it was well designed, and we were anticipating, you know, folks who do have some mobility issues to get out there and play this game. So, but ask your question, sir, or did I get it?
So what's next, curling?
Meh.
Nice.
Any-
Roller rink back and get a roller skate on.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Carmichael.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion to receive and file C11, Parks Project?
I make a motion to receive and file C11.
And a second?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I seeing no opposition. Let's receive and file C11. Next on our agenda item, our future agenda items. Is there any item that we'd like to agendize for future, ladies and gentlemen?
Park tour?
Let me jump in. So, you know, as we discussed, let me back up. Our annual park tour typically took place in July. Public Works Advisory Board decided that they go dark in July. So we did not, were they dark or they're on a different day? I think they went dark. Anyway, so it was explained to me that we could look at a park tour sometime maybe in October or November. So if that is something that your commission would like to jump on board, I'll make a point and schedule that.
I would like that very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Why don't we make it all a point to go visit a couple of parks, and then we'll see which park we think needs the most eyeballs on it for, you know, for improvement or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, once you take a look, feel free to give me an email or a phone call, and I'll speak to the Public Works Director, and then we can get those parks on the.
Okay. I would like to say, though, the parks that I have seen, the Public Works are doing an excellent job in the maintenance and the garbage and all that, especially during the heavy tourist times. I think they're doing a splendid job, and I thank them very much.
Thank you. So, looks like we're going to adjourn the meeting. And our next meeting will be Thursday, November 17th, 2022. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.